So you join me when I'm just in the process of getting these command figures painted for the High Elves. I've completed one of them, the champion archer, which is done in the style in the army book. And I've made a start to the standard bearer and the musician, but these are just done to base paint stage. I won't record the full process. I thought I would produce just a few clips if I do anything that's a bit more involved than on the spearmen or the archers. So the first thing I want to start doing now is applying the shades or the contrast paints to help get some definition in here and some outlining. And I'm going to have a go first on the areas where you see the red and green pattern. For that I'm going to use the Skeleton Horde contrast paint. Can thin it down a little bit with the contrast medium, just so it's not quite as strong. The reason this is useful is the red and the green pattern, a good common colour to use for outlining those in one pass would be a brown colour like this. Okay, so I've got quite a small brush here, so I'm trying to keep it neat and not go over surrounding colours. You just want to make sure you get a little bit of it on that connecting edge, just so it has a chance to dry and form that outline. Just being careful around the white clothes. And even before it's dried, you can start to see that outline appearing. You've always just got to remember that as it dries, it settles into the recesses and darkens up. And then lastly, just across the front there. And what's good about it is you can see that it doesn't do too much to the colour of the green and red areas, but it certainly collects in the joins. So I'll carry on with the Skeleton Horde now on the other areas where I need it. I'll just bring you back in at this stage as I'm applying the yellow shade. Kind of iconic design up on the High Elf banner pole, and finally getting to paint one after seeing them in the old White Dwarfs in the army books, where they had used yellow like this rather than gold paint. You can actually see that they've used yellow, which always looks really good. Because interestingly, on the swords and other places you can see that they have used gold paint in places, but up on the banner pole they've used the yellow, and it's a really distinctive look. A classic. I just thought I would show that on camera because it's such a nice effect. And the little eagle heads on the ends. I think this is always my favourite stage now in painting. If anything, it's what brought me into it. Was seeing people using Agrax Earthshade, and what a great effect it was. Yeah, so there we go for the yellow. Really rich, vibrant look, and it's a great starting point for building up that yellow tones. Just about finished with the shades now, and using the Null Oil as the last one, working around the armour. I think this is when the minis start looking really good. What was the most fun part of painting? This is when you start to develop that black outline, which is the kind of telltale look for those early 90s miniatures like this. Some people will paint in those outlines by hand, just with a fine brush and black paint. But I think that works pretty well in achieving something similar, which is much easier to do. So that's the 2 miniatures ready for layering and highlighting. Something else that we're going to try and achieve with the shade paints is on this sash on the side of these 3 elves. It's got this kind of blend yellow to dark orange. The reason I'm trying to do that, in the army book, this miniature here is the one that I've been trying to use as a colour guide, and you can just make out the sash on the side of the miniature with that yellow to deep orange, almost red blend. So to achieve that, I'm just going to use a couple of the shades. I've got the orange one and the red one, and then a bit of Lahmian medium also, because we don't want these at full strength. We want to almost glaze over that sash. There's always really good shake on the shade paints, just to get the stuff off the bottom of the bottle. Grab some of the medium first, and then some of the actual colour, maybe about half and half. And I think just for the demonstration, I'm going to hold the miniature upside down. Maybe just do one section at a time. And we can apply a couple of passes of this. I'm not going to go around the whole waist, because that's just in yellow in the images. But this sash on the side is going to have this blend. And the reason I'm holding it upside down is because I want that colour to eventually move what will be up the sash, so that we get most of the orange and red towards the top and leaving some of the yellow towards the bottom when it's around the right way. It doesn't take long to dry this stuff, so you won't be holding it for very long. It's just to give it a chance to start to settle and set. Okay, so that's a couple of passes of that first orange glaze on the sash. I'm going to use the Caraberg Crimson, maybe mixed 4:1 with Lahmian Medium. Okay, so that's a coat of the very thin red. I can maybe add one more pass to increase the effect. Okay, so that's the general effect completed now. And you can still come in during the layering and highlighting stage and pick out some of these creases and edges. In essence, the colour effect is ready to go. So next for these miniatures will be the layering and highlighting and generally finishing them. And we'll do that in the next video.